Hello, you're watching another episode of In Person with me, Lakshmi Baker. And as usual, in Person, we interview trailblazers, champions of specific causes, and voices to be reckoned with. Now, when I say champions for specific causes, I'm here with a regular, everyday person who decided to do something big with his life. I am with none other than Zulfikar Zamir. Thank you so much, Zul, for giving me this opportunity to interview you today. It's very impressive when I read about you. You know, you remind me of a regular college-going student. You're 27 years old, and you are a co-founder of Teach for the Needs. What inspired you to start an NGO like this?
People inspired me, which is my students inspired me. So I am a teacher.
Okay.
So I see the problem faced by the orphanage and mostly by poor people. They struggle to live by their daily life.
Yeah.
So I think it is important for us if Malaysian can see from a perspective which is from the shoes they wear. So if we can get the perspective, I think most of us maybe can inspire ourselves as well.
Yeah, you're 27 years old. You're a postgraduate student in University Malaya doing the course of curriculum development. When did you start teaching though?
I started teaching in 2010. I graduated from IPG, Campus Ipoh.
Okay.
I am the first batch doing degree with Ministry of Education.
Oh, okay.
So it is 4 years back. And then I started Teach for the Need in 2012.
2012. So you started teaching in year 2010, which is not very long ago. And it's just been 3 years. And in that 3 years, a spark lit up in you, and you decided that you wanted to do something for students. You definitely saw a lack somewhere. That's why you wanted to make a difference. Now, what is it that you saw? You know, and because a lot of us see a lot of things happening around us, we want to make a difference. A lot of us talk about it, but we don't do it. So what is it that you saw that made you want to do this?
I saw a potential from people, from students, which is from poor families and orphanages, with differentiate by the socio-economic problems. So we have another group of the peoples which is from rich family, so they go to tuition double times in a week.
Yeah, and then these children don't have the
These
opportunity.
kind of students, they didn't get the real opportunity to get in tuition.
Yeah.
So this is the different situation. And I saw a potential if they can go to tuition as well. So maybe they can
Do better.
Yes.
In studies. And did you always think about this before you became a teacher, or you only saw it when in 2010 onwards? You know, did you have this passion from when you were a kid? You did. You always knew you were going to do get involved in welfare activities, to set up an NGO. Was it your dream when you were a kid?
I joined Red Crescent Society from my college as well. But then this real life situation is really struck me when I get into job. So the theories which we presented in college is much more different in life.
Right. So what is your advice then for people who have a 9-to-5 job? Now you're a student, you're a teacher, it's a full-time job. Now you work Mondays to Fridays. What is your advice for people who want to do this, and what is your job hours like at school?
7 to 2.
7 to 2. So you have like half a day to do your welfare activities, and you have half a day to be a teacher, and you are the head of the PE unit in school. Great. What is your advice for people who want to do this and can't find the time because you're stuck with work, stuck with family, you know?
I don't really have advice, I think, but then from my opinion, if we want to do something, we just have to do it. From my experience in the FTN, we didn't have the fund, we didn't have the team. When we started small. From 2 teachers to the 5 teachers, and we grow until 19 teachers, and now we have 8 Rumah Anak Yatim.
When was it set up, TFTN?
1 March 2012. So.
Right, so recent, yeah. And describe a day in your life, because you have your school to attend to, then you have your TF. Okay, pick a day which is like the busiest in your schedule, and tell me what you did from the time that you woke up until you slept. What is it like? So people can get a heads up before they decide to get into something like this.
Maybe the busiest day in my life, I will pick Wednesday, because of why?
Okay.
Wednesday we have co-curricular activities until 4:30.
This is in school, in Wangsa Maju School.
So I go to school from 7 and then I go back like 6 when I came home. I have tuition as well after school. So I usually sleep at 2 or 3.
Okay.
Because when going back, you have to check the Facebook. You have to check the Twitter for the Teach for the Day as well.
Because TFTN is very active on social media.
Yes,
You do
yes.
like keep posting things on
Because
Twitter.
our office is on social media.
Right.
We don't have physical office.
Right, okay. You don't really like the way our schools and universities are educating our children. You've made that very clear. You're a writer for the Malaysian Insider, and you've also written a book on your feelings about this. What is it that you're so dissatisfied about? What did you see?
I would say I am dissatisfied with the system. Our system in Malaysia is pretty much different compared to the Finland, I would say, South Korea or Japanese as well. So this system, I believe, is gained from our national education philosophy. So we have to read again our national education philosophy to get the system working much better.
If you were to pick one stark difference between the education system in Malaysia and compare it to, say, one country that you mentioned, maybe Finland or Korea, what would you think is the most stark difference that you think is the first thing that needs to be changed?
We have to change the mindset of the people running the school, people running the jabatan, and then people running the ministry as well. And then this is something which is, I would say, teachers should get more autonomy to do whatever they want inside the classroom.
What is stopping them?
They have so many things to do. I don't know, they have many perkeliling, they have instruction, and then they have a pile of system to get into. This is something I would say like
It's like a barrier.
Yeah, barrier for them to teach like what they should teach inside the classroom.
Okay, we're going to find out more about that after this short break. And I also want to ask Zul, does he believe that a child needs to go to school or university to even be considered an educated person? We're going to find out that right after this break. Stay tuned. Hi, you're watching In Person with me, Lakshmi Baker. I am talking to Zulfikri Zamir this episode, and we're now in Rumah Kasih, an orphanage that TFTN looks after. This orphanage is an orphanage for girls, and from what we see, there are girls ranging from the age of, from babies right up to teenagers. And when we left you just now, we asked Zul a very interesting question. We wanted to know, do you think children or students need to go to school and go through a formal education in order to be considered educated? Because I did read that you said Google is a teacher. So do you wish that there was some other way of gauging a child's qualification besides having to go to school or to university?
My opinion is this era, people don't really have to go to school because, as I said before, Steve Jobs, people like Mark Zuckerberg, they didn't get the certificates from universities, but they contribute something to the society.
Right.
So if you want a certain level of knowledge in depth, maybe you can go to Google Scholar or journal. So the knowledge is accessible this era. And the important thing is because of the school is to be institutionalized by the system.
Right.
So people believe if they want to get educated, they have to get certain kind of institution to get to. But it's not really something like that.
I hear you don't like the examination system. Why so?
Examinations graded people, which is something opposed with the TFTM, because TFTM believe everyone has potential if they given the opportunity. So grading people into certain level using the same benchmarking, I think is not really good to know the potential.
Because it creates a sort of an unhealthy competition, and you feel that the entire purpose for educating a child is lost if all that they are exposed to is competition from day one. What about the knowledge? What about creative and critical thinking? You feel that all that gets missed out on.
Yeah.
On that note, you wrote a book, and the book's title is Sekolah Bukan Penjara, University Bukan Kilang. Translated, schools aren't prisons, universities aren't factories. I find that absolutely interesting and in some areas spot on. Can you explain what led you to write this book? And you also feel that universities are places where students get indoctrinated into a certain way of thinking. Does that have anything to do with you writing this book?
The book is actually a compilation of my writing inside the Malaysian Insider, Project Dialogue, and Malaysia Kini.
Okay.
But then I wrote as well one focus article about the title of the book, and it is a view from my personal experience and my future.
Yeah.
My future foreseen about the education in Malaysia, and to see how the students to be stereotyped, and then we call it bertanding.
Oh, to compete.
Yes, to compete among themselves.
Okay.
Because I see examinations making the same prototype of person, so they the same species, so we didn't get the variation of them.
Yeah, they all end up being the same product of the education system, and you wish that they were thinking is more critical and they have their own opinions. Would you encourage your students to challenge what the teachers say?
Yes, as Paulo Freire wrote in his book Pedagogy of the Oppressed, the students should oppose with the teacher as well. So this kind of system which we are living in school and university, we didn't get a chance to oppose.
They're scared, right?
Yes.
They feel that if they are going to challenge the teacher that they're talking back or they're being rude, they don't know how to do it. So maybe the system needs to change in that sense to first encourage them to think out of the box and to question more. If you were to say, I hear your dream is to set up your own school. How is Zulfikri's Amir school going to be like, going to look like? When that dream finally comes through, and I'm confident it will. What kind of school is that going to be?
I will see my school as a place where students can do whatever they want. And, they think they will have the opportunity to explore something new beside of something what teachers should teach them. Like I always said before, in Darjah 3 contohnya, we have 17 textbooks, so we are giving them the syllabus, and then we teach them how to answer and how the question looks like. I will see my school if I can get it in future.
I'm sure you will.
Maybe they don't have to study those 17 textbooks, but they pick and choose whatever they
It's more customized for the child. Yeah, so maybe it'll be good if teachers and parents know in the beginning what is it that the child is interested in and tailor-make the entire system for the child. This is going to need a lot more infrastructure, a lot more trained teachers, and I'm sure you're going to be able to do it. Are you prepared for that kind of preparation top down. You know, it starts with the government, and then are you ready for that challenge?
We are looking forward to start the school in 5 years, I would say.
Okay, great.
So we are looking forward to start up the infrastructure right now.
Awesome.
And to start choose the teacher trainers from now.
Amazing.
So, yes,
Amazing.
that's how.
So your radars are already up to see what kind of teachers are going to be able to educate students in that way, in a critical way. Okay, I have another. That's one of your dreams, to set up a school. I have another dream of yours in my hand right now, sort of like an example. I don't have the dream itself because you're going to achieve it. You want to find out what that dream is. It's in my hand. That's Zul's dream. Stay tuned, and we shall find out right after this break. Hi, you're still watching In Person with me, Lakshmi Beka, and I'm still in Rumah Kasih with these real sweet girls. I have with me two of them. I have Soleha and Aisha, and I want to ask them. I want to know when they grow up, what is their dreams and what are their dreams and what do they want to become. So kita mula dengan Aisha. Bila Aisha besar nanti, Aisha punya impian. Oh sorry, Soleha yang ni Aisha. Bila Soleha besar nanti, Soleha nak jadi apa? Apa impian Soleha? Cita-cita macam tu? Okay. Kuat lagi.
Doktor pakar.
Doktor pakar dalam bidang?
Pakar
Gigi. Okay, so sekarang ni dekat sekolah, mata pelajaran apa yang Soleha paling suka? Sains.
Sains dan IT.
Okey, bagus. Adik Aisyah pula, bila besar nanti nak jadi apa? Nak jadi macam? Kuat lagi. Penjual. Nak jual apa?
Kerja masa di pasar raya.
Jual barang kat pasar raya. So kalau besar nanti, kalau Soleha boleh memiliki pasar raya, bukan jual kat pasar, kalau nak memiliki pasar raya tu nak tak? Mesti boleh, mesti you kena fikir tinggi, you kena betul-betul berusaha masa kat sekolah. Terima kasih, sweet girls. See, they do have dreams, and I'm sure with the right support, like what Zul is doing here, I'm sure that they can definitely achieve what they want. What is the biggest problems that you face as far as volunteers are concerned?
Okay, the biggest challenge is to gather the volunteers to volunteers with us.
Right.
Because,
To get the volunteers in the first
Yes.
place. Yeah.
and then to get the right volunteer as well, because we are doing this like a wakaf masa,
Okay.
so they do have the constraint of time
Right.
to get into Mahana Yatim on weekends or weekdays. So that's the biggest challenge for us.
You mentioned earlier during the break that sometimes the children get really attached to a volunteer, and if the volunteer doesn't turn up, they miss them and they write them letters. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
There is a case, not only one case, but then a few cases where when the volunteers didn't get into Rumah Anak Yatim, they called the volunteers, they wrote the letters because of they get attached with the volunteers.
Yeah.
So there is like the abang, kakak, and they miss them because of these volunteers not really teach them, but then they be like
There's an emotional bonding already, and they miss them because they don't have anyone else, and that is the biggest challenge. That's why I really admire Zul, because when you start something, you've got to finish it, and it's a lifelong commitment, you know. And I promised just now, before we went for a break, that I have a dream of his in the hand. I'm going to explain why he wants to do this. You can see, it's the classic big Trans-Siberian St. Petersburg to Beijing. Okay, with all the prices there as well. Did you know that it takes 19 full days to complete this journey? You can take a look.
Yes.
I'm giving this paper to you so you know how much it costs and in a year how many times it happens. Why the Trans-Siberian St. Petersburg to Beijing route? Why?
I think of this road back to 2007.
Okay.
And it has been like 5 to 6 years until now. And I'm planning to do it in these 2 years maybe. I don't know whether I can achieve it, but for me...
You haven't done it yet, right? You've not even gone close to doing it yet, right?
but for me, this is like one time of opportunity
Yes.
to get into a train and to get into a few benua.
Okay,
from
continents for
Beijing.
like, yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? This whole length of the facility that has been set up, and how far it reaches.
I as well don't know how far it is, but
It is really, really
it's
long.
like if you can get through from Beijing to Moscow
Yeah.
in a full 7 days, but then if you stop by maybe
Yeah, they've got the stop by. I never even really knew about this particular package till I read about your dream online. Now, you love backpacking as well. I love backpacking as well. It's one of my dreams. So we do share something in common here. What are the places you've backpacked to before?
my biggest backpack is to London and Paris back in December 2011.
2009. Did you manage to cover the entire of Europe or just these two places?
No, only just these two places, and a few places to Coventry, to Liverpool, Oxford, Cambridge, and a few places in London and United Kingdom.
Okay. It's really been amazing talking to you, Zul. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye really soon. But before that, I want to leave everyone with a burning question in their mind. We know that internationally, Malaysia is very far behind according to the PISA, the Program for International Students Assessment. But this was done in 2009. Has there been any latest revelations on where Malaysian students stand on an international level? It said in 2009 that 60% of them did not reach the minimum requirement in maths. That's a real huge percentage. 44% did not reach the requirements in reading, and 43% in science. Now, this is the latest information that we have. What is it that you think you want to do, or the message that you want to give out to our viewers out there so that this changes? It's in a terrible level in 2009.
I would say the cause of these problems because of the perubahan yang tidak terancang within the management of the Ministry of Education. Before that, we do have PPSMI.
There's no plan for change. There's no proper planning in the transitioning of.
And then when different ministers get into the ministry, they do change the plan as well.
Yeah.
So I think if PISA they reveal the latest result as well, the result is not pretty much different from. My message is we have to look back into our system where the focus of the education is inside the classroom, not the thing outside.
In the books.
Yes.
Right. What is your take on maths and science has to be taught in English? What's your take on that?
I don't really understand why they want to teach science and math using the second language. We have to choose the first language so that they apprehend the theory and the technical.
Because if you're already weak in English, and if you're going to teach the subject, so maybe specifically for students who can't really understand English, it's got to stay. That's what we meant by the customizing of it according to the student. Okay, we have to wrap up very soon. We're running out of time, so I want to ask you, play a little game with you. I've got question 1 to 33. Pick a question, and I will read out pick a number, and I'll read out the question.
I picked 27.
Okay, number 27 is, if you could be any superhero and have superpowers, which one would you like to have and why?
I would say maybe I don't know. I just watched Man of Steel and I think it's amazing how people think of how superhero can change the world. Maybe if we do have Man of Steel, but in the education area. So maybe they can do like this, budak ni tak boleh baca, dia budak ni dah boleh baca.
You want a superhero, you want a Superman in the Ministry of Education, or you want a superhero that's going to look after the area of education and where it's lacking. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Zul. I hope that there are going to be more people like you out there, and I hope that in my free time I'm going to be able to contribute something like this towards the growth of children in Malaysia. There's a huge gap we're lacking as far as the PISA results show, and I hope in time to come you will achieve everything that you want to achieve, and you will go on that Trans-Siberian track across the continents and keep doing what you're doing. And I want to visit that school one day that you're going to build. All right? Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much. That's all from me in this episode of In Person. Stay tuned next week, where we're going to interview another inspiring personality that has stirred us Malaysians. So don't go anywhere. Same time next week. See you.